This episode of Gamescast is brought to you by Squarespace. Whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Create a beautiful website or online store with an award-winning template. It's super easy. The original Kind of Funny site was made using Squarespace. Squarespace's award-winning templates are a great way to present your ideas online. You can create a beautiful website with Squarespace's all-in-one platform. There's nothing to install, patch, or upgrade ever. It works. They provide award-winning 24/7 customer support, and they offer a unique domain experience that's fully transparent and simple to set up. It's flexible for any type of website, and it's used by a wide range of creatives and people, musicians, designers, artists, restaurants, pretty much anything. You can start your free trial today at squarespace.com/gamecast and enter offer code GAMECAST to get 10% off of your first purchase. That's GAMECAST, no S in the middle of it. What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever episode 127 of the Kind of Funny Gamescast. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by one of the coolest dudes in video games, Greg Miller.
Hi, action figure body.
And for the first time on this show, Anthony Gallegos.
Yay!
It's nice to finally be here.
How are you doing?
Your return to podcasting.
Yeah, my return to podcasting after 10 years. And now I'm doing good. I'm staying busy, as always.
The first question we got of the day comes from Flickhouse.
Okay.
What the heck are you even up to nowadays, Anthony?
I do a games podcast called Rebel FM that we've been doing since like January 5th, 2009.
Oh.
Yeah, it's been a while. And that one's still going. And then also I'm in game development now.
You're
so
a
I do,
gazillion.
I'm a designer at Gazillion, and so that's mostly what I'm doing these days. I still do a little bit of streaming here and there, but obviously nothing like I am not regular or anything like that. So mostly, living my life, enjoying my time with my fiance. Yeah.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
That's a fun thing.
Yeah.
It's a life milestone. Leveled up.
Oh.
So yeah,
you found your player too.
Yeah, I found my player too. Yeah, I've lost some weight for sure. But yeah, just staying busy. I don't know. I do lots of things. I've been doing archery now. There's like an archery range in East Bay.
Kevin got really into archery for a while, and I didn't like it.
Yeah. I got myself not a compound bow. I got myself a recurve bow, like a very traditional looking one.
Yeah.
And then there's a archery range out in Oakland where you walk the shots like golf, like you do one shot to the next in the woods.
That's cool.
It's really pretty. It's this wonderful little hike. Go up there, meet my fiance, and just lose arrows. That's what we do most of the time.
Cool.
Yeah.
It sounds dangerous.
The hills are set up to where if someone's shooting, it's probably highly unlikely they'd hit you.
Highly unlikely.
So
I'll take those odds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, why not?
So it was just doing that.
Do you ever act like you're a green arrow? Do you ever do any stuff like that?
So the range has rules about like pointing up and stuff like that.
I just mean like yelling, you failed the city. And you
I've jumped off things and shot while jumping and stuff.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Have you nailed the little knee tuck?
No, geez. Every time I even did a jump, that literally was an arrow gone off into the poison ivy, never finding it again.
Yeah, okay.
So it's an expensive habit when you're losing arrows.
Sure,
all the time.
yeah. But sounds like fun though. We should do that.
You guys should totally do it. It's surprising. 2 bows. It's surprisingly fun. Okay. Yeah, and Kevin has both.
Do you wear the whole arm guard
Yes,
thing?
you have to wear an arm guard because...
Okay, I'm sorry. Why didn't you ask stupid questions?
Well, if you have a good jacket or something to cover you up. Cause
like this one from kindoffunny.com/store?
Sure, that would probably do, but the string will rip your skin up. So.
Yikes. How you been, Greg?
Good. How are you?
You weren't here last week.
No.
Last week we got into some real nerd shit.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts.
We had Alexa Ray Correa and Jonathan Dornbush come over to talk about Kingdom Hearts.
That's good people to get into that sort of stuff.
And they got real into it. I liked it.
I was really happy with the feedback for that episode. Many people happy with that episode. Many people impressed with Alexa's knowledge of the Kingdom Hearts.
She literally wrote the book on Kingdom Hearts.
True. That's very true.
Yeah. So that's cool. But what have you been up to? How you
went to
doing?
RTX.
Yeah.
I was in Missouri for a long time. Then I went to RTX. Then I've been home now.
I feel like there's an emptiness inside me because I haven't talked to you about video games for a while.
Sure.
Because we missed last week, and then I wasn't on Games Daily this whole week.
I know, yeah.
Danny was there.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing.
So you're ready to talk about some games. Good. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm fired up. So start the fucking show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Gamescast. Each and every week we get together to talk about video games and all the things we love about them. You can watch it live by going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and supporting at the $1 level. That's it. Or you can get it early in VOD and watch it whenever you damn want at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Or you can just watch it whenever you want for free the following Monday on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. It's a good time for all, however you want to support. I appreciate it, even if it is just going to iTunes and reviewing and rating, and I don't even know exactly what they call it. Leave a comment.
That's it. You just did it. No, that's what you do. Yeah. We need you to do that. No matter where you consume the show, there's other platforms you could go and just drop us a subscription or a thumbs up or a review or whatever, and it helps find the show.
It means a lot to us. So thank you very much for that. This Gamescast it's the new format. We've been doing it a couple of weeks now. People have been giving us a lot of really good feedback on it. Thank you. It seems like people like it.
Yeah.
No more topic by topic, just one whole beautiful thing, starting with the segment that is, what have we been playing?
Thank you, Tim. I've been waiting for this subject. Anthony, for how many years did I beg you and David Brevik to bring Marvel Heroes to console?
Pretty much, I mean, before I even joined the company, you were doing that?
100%.
And then in 2015, when I joined the company, every time he would meet up with you, it would always be the question that would
and I
get
would
asked.
ask you the same one at Super Knockin' Boots all the time.
Right.
Exactly.
And it'd always be one of those things like, it'd be real cool if we could do that, you know? And yeah, so 3 years at least.
Okay. And so then this year you did it.
Yeah, we did.
Now, this was very exciting to me.
Yeah.
Marvel Heroes Omega.
Yeah.
I can get trophies playing as the Marvel Heroes characters.
Yes.
This is when you know I like a game. I can't even say it. I played it on a PC.
Yeah.
I bought the Founders Edition for $150 of my own dollars on PC to play it.
Yeah.
Played it there. You guys updated it. I played some more. Then it finally comes here, and I'm excited. And leading up to it, I'm excited. I get it. I play it. I'm excited. I'm playing it, though, and I go to be Spider-Man. And I go in there, and I'm like, I want to be Spider-Gwen. And I go in there, Spider-Gwen not there. I hit you guys up. I'm like, what's going on with the Spider-Gwen? Where's Spider-Gwen? And you tell me off the record. You're like, well, she might be coming close to the movie. I'm like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, motherfucker. I'm on board. Don't worry. Come home yesterday.
Yeah.
Been working my little buttons off here. You know what I mean? I was in Austin. I was in Missouri. I haven't been to the console in a while.
Okay.
I turned it on. I jump into Marvel Heroes Omega.
Okay.
And I'm like, I'm gonna play some Spider-Gwen.
Okay.
Go in there, Tim. Go to the Spider-Man option. Because for the record, I'm Lady Thor.
Yeah.
I'm Jane Foster. I currently am level 30.
Yeah.
I enjoy playing as Jane Foster, but I'm ready for Spider-Gwen, voiced by Ashley Johnson, friend of the show.
Yeah.
I go into the store to buy the costume. It's not there. It's attached to these spider loot crates.
Yes.
I'm like, okay. I'm like, go out there and like the loot crates. Hey, you're gonna get all. And I'm like, oh, I'm familiar with these loot crates. I had a few in my inventory, not spider loot crates. I had a few of the other ones.
Yeah, Marvel loot boxes.
And I was popping off, Deadpool, no mask, a couple other costumes. I'm like, great. How hard can it be to get a fucking Spider-Gwen? Tim, ask me how many loot crates I did.
How many loot crates?
I did 16 motherfucking loot crates last night, Tim. Just looking for Spider-Gwen. Ashley Johnson, friend of the show. I've been looking for this game for how many years, Anthony?
At least 3.
At least 3 years on a console. And I'm like, because I was there. I lived it on PC, gentlemen, when Spider-Gwen was originally just a team-up character. Wasn't even a real character. Then she finally comes. And I'm like, how hard can it be? I look at the watch. I'm like, I got 30 minutes before I have to go to an anniversary dinner with the love of my life. I can unlock Spider-Gwen. 16 fucking crates. It's not until crate 16 that any costume pops, and it's the fucking I'm Spider-Man from Homecoming and I have no money suit.
Are you?
What are you doing to me?
Are you familiar with what RNG means?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
It shouldn't apply to me or Spider-Gwen.
Well, first I would like to say thank you for the support. It's nice to keep the lights on, and the loot boxes are one of our main ways that we give players an option to spend money. Obviously, Spider-Gwen is an option, right? She's not something you have to play.
Okay.
So
choose your words carefully here, all right?
I mean, basically with costumes and stuff, we found that we were putting a lot of them up in the store, and a lot of them weren't. It was more worth our while to put them into a box and to have boxes packed with more costumes than it was to put up costumes a la carte in the store and have that as an option. It kind of felt bad when we would try it. have a costume in the store, have a costume in a box. I got a costume I could have just gotten from the store.
Sure.
Not always a great feeling. So we wanted to try and pull out more exclusive ones. And there is always that push and pull of like, should we do Spider-Gwen? Like, man, she's a really wanted costume. There's going to be people that just want to buy her straight up. But at the same time, it feels really good when you get it in a box. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm sorry that you didn't get it.
Kevin, here's what I want to know from you from a technical side over there. Do we have Marvel Heroes Omega on the PlayStation 4 Pro?
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You want me to get that going?
No, because it'll screw up your uploads and downloads. I'll just Vita remote play it and roll a few times. No big deal, no pressure. Let's see if I get it while I'm
I mean, it's not that big of a deal other than I directly made a lot of these boxes at first. So
Sure. Well, maybe you should have done a better job.
Hey, you said when you were up in the other ones, you were getting skins for other heroes and stuff like that.
Deadpool is a PC character for me, all right? I don't need to play Deadpool again.
Deadpool is one of the most beloved characters nowadays, so...
He's great, Nolan North.
Yes, Nolan North.
Come on, of course.
Nolan North, who does that and also does Rocket Raccoon in our game.
I know.
Hell yeah.
So, but yeah, Greg, I want you to have what you want, but I also hope that you understand that loot crates it is in a form.
Well, I mean, I'm still coming back every day till I get this goddamn thing.
So, Greg Millerisms aside, you having fun with the game?
Oh yeah. Oh no. I'm level 30 with Lady Thor there or whatever, and Jane Foster, and so like that's good. It's awesome to see it. I think be ported over to the game console so well.
Sure.
It does feel like, you know what I mean? The Marvel Heroes I played before. I enjoy it. It's for me very much what I like about Friday the 13th. Cool, I can jump in and play 30 minutes. I can play 8 hours, and I feel like I'm getting as much into or out of it the same way. Whereas, like, we haven't talked. We haven't been on the same show. I'm getting ready for what I call, Anthony, the Persona pilgrimage.
Yeah, that's going to be it for you.
Where I have to say no more to the rest of my games and just play Persona till it's beaten.
Sure.
And because August is coming and there's a lot of good games I want to play in August.
Yeah.
And I feel like July I can kind of get away. I can kind of this extra half of July just exit out.
Yeah.
But the problem with Persona is, even though I have to change when the pilgrimage happens, I feel like if I have 30 minutes, I don't feel like I'm going to get any real progress done Persona.
Sure, you're going to do like a day of your life.
So it keeps pushing me back and not doing it. But that's also why I haven't completed Persona.
Yeah.
So as I prep for that, I'm trying to figure out. But like yesterday, had a few minutes to kill. Jump in, try to get the Spider-Gwen. After we're still talking about what we played, right?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, because I was playing other stuff. You might have heard of some of these games, Tim. Yesterday, I got the Platinum Trophy in Energy Cycle.
Haven't heard of it.
It's one of the horrible Platinum Trophies on PSN I talked about.
Heard of it.
On the Games Daily.
So you're just playing it to get the Platinum?
100%.
Okay.
It's one you can do in, like, they say 20 minutes or whatever, but I started it at work.
I didn't realize you were still that guy.
Oh, yes. Yeah, totally.
He wasn't for a while, but then
You go in waves. You fall off the wagon.
He's just
you fall off the
recently
wagon.
been
You're
real
back.
bad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, now they put up, and then of course I did a 5-star 1,000 top rated trophies.
Yeah.
Because I downloaded that before they banished it from the store. And then I put it was there, so I just did that real quick.
Did you also do the one that was, I forget, there was some game they had up recently. It was just called like, I don't know, it had the most.
This is it. 5-star 1,000 top rated trophies. Yeah, I did that last night.
Yeah, just the most like money. I can't believe that got approved.
Yeah, no, they're not looking out for it. They're not, now they are, apparently.
Yeah.
Now they're going to try.
We'll see.
We'll see. Nubla's up there twice. I haven't bought Nubla, because Nubla is an investment. Nubla would be a grand total of like $34, but it'd be 2 platinum trophies in 30 minutes.
See
he's putting a dollar ratio on platinum.
That's the problem,
Yeah.
man. I don't
Yeah.
like the dollars being involved.
Well, that's the problem. Is like when you look
20
back,
minutes, that's one thing.
it was $1 for
$34.
top rated trophies. You know what I mean, or top rated, whatever.
Let me just ask you,
Lay it
in
on me.
theory, if there was
Sure.
a website where you could go and pay $5 for a platinum,
Sure.
is that something you might do?
Is there a limit on the number of platinums I could get?
Let's say you could get 10 for $50, and you're just going to
And
get
that's
10
it.
platinums.
No more.
Yeah, you just play this game. You play for 1 minute each time. You get a platinum, $5 each.
But I can't. I might.
I mean, does the game not
Because
matter to you at all?
if it moves over to just being able to, hey, I buy the platinum and I can buy infinite platinums, then it's not fun anymore.
Okay.
Because what it is there's just
But
like
if there's a limit, then it's still
exactly.
fun because it's crazy.
then we're all on the same. We're all on the same playing field.
So when you see
No,
the person,
everyone can
when you
buy.
see the person that's competing with you, we both did.
Here's the thing: is that I don't compete with anybody. Even with Colin, a long time ago, I was like, when he passed me, when I left the PlayStation team, and in quotes, left the PlayStation team to be a host, whatever, and Colin was the one who was now playing everything, and he passed me, I was like, all right, great. And then he's always been way more like, I'm going to well, not always. For a while, he was a whore like myself. But then he became the whole, I'm only going to platinum games I really care about or whatever. And or that I think are really good. But even then, he got obsessive about it in a way that I'm not. Like, I can play a game and be like, that game was fun, but I'm done with it.
Right.
But then there's the games where I love, and then I want to try to platinum them, or hey, it's fucking hilarious how easy this platinum is. I want to try to get that.
Sure.
And that's my thing. That's the line I walk. But back to my point. I'm sorry. I don't compete with anybody, because like that's the thing is like there's kids out there who are like fucking level 60 or whatever, and I'm level 30. I'm like, all right, well, you're way past me.
Sure, I just meant like competing with a couple of friends in your friends list or something like that.
No, I just do it for my own edification. I like seeing that number go up. I like cranking out some
You're
platties.
sick.
There are games made for you. They're called clicker games. Like, dude, just
But this is the same thing. This is the whole thing. I click through them and I get them and I'm done. I move on with my day.
Yeah.
And again, it's only when I couldn't get before Spider-Gwen. I was like, oh, I better knock out Energy Cycle, because it was like 5 more minutes. And then I was like, oh, there's that top rated thing. Did that, delete them. There's something in our lives. These fucking 90-hour games out there. And all this
very
dumb
hard
shit.
for me nowadays.
It's one of those things I downloaded something, I did it, and now it's deleted. And like I feel like I'm making progress. It's like when you make a to-do list. You remember this?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna make a to-do list in class, and at the bottom is like, hey, do this fucking project that can take you all weekend. But then there's other ones of like, organize your folders or something. And you're like, yeah, you know what? That's a bullshit task that I knocked out. Now I feel better about myself that I got something done. Now I'm gonna smoke this drug and not do the project.
Smoke this drug.
What else you been playing, Greg?
I've been playing this little Nintendo. Well, first off, let's go over some of the things I played on the plane. All right. So I took with me, this is their PlayStation Vita, to RTX/Missouri, Missouri/RTX. I finally started up Salt and Sanctuary over on the PlayStation Vita.
I've heard it's quite good.
It is really good. So, going through, getting killed, start again, go back and do all this different stuff. Great 2D art styles. Everybody's always described it as like 2D Dark Souls.
Everyone's loved that guy's art style ever since the dishwasher.
Exactly. Having fun with it. I was hoping it would get its hooks in me, and I'd want to like be. I put it down. I haven't felt compelled to go back in. I started A Rose in the Twilight on Vita, which it had come out, and I got an actual physical copy of, which you never see. Played it for a little bit. I'm like, this isn't even for me, right? You know what I mean? It's just a little bit slow and a little bit like puzzly kind of thing. That's not what I'm about. Of course, played your friend of mine, Oceanhorn.
Okay.
Played some more of that. Running well on the Vita. Didn't really, bother getting too into it, because when I'm in there, I'm playing all these Vita games, and I'm like, I feel like I haven't touched the Switch in a while.
I love your Joy-Cons. You're the only person I know that has
bright neon
that
yellow.
color.
Well, it's because they send them to me and not you. Otherwise, you'd have them.
Well, are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know. You got your.
They nailed it for me. I got my blue ones. That's all I want.
That's nice.
And then I'm good.
I got the stock gray ones because I didn't want to get the brightly colored ones. But
Sure.
Well, I got the gray ones too, but then I bought the 2 blue.
I see.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is like you have the blue, so I feel like I can't go get the blue, even though they're kind of funny blue too.
I mean, I liked you.
Yeah, that's the thing. When
obnoxious colored things make sense.
When they did the yellow ones, and I was like, I don't like how that looks in photos. And then when I got them, I was like, what, these look pretty good. And I slid them on, and it was kind of funny live weekend. And I wanted to go rub them in
I can't decide
Zyger's
if I
face.
love or hate them in real life.
I think I like them. Looks like my fiance would be all about that color. That's like the color of her motorcycle helmet, and she's all about that bright.
So I was playing these games, and what I found myself running into on the Vita was like, none of these are hitting the spot. I want comfort food. I want something. And I was, Minecraft.
Okay.
So I jumped back into Minecraft on Switch.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we ever talked about this on this show. Because I like Minecraft, but I'm a student of the Minecraft Vita game. And so when I would jump over and play PlayStation 4, see these updates and stuff, I'm like, man, this game looks different. And I was like, well, how different is it on Switch? And a few weeks ago, I jumped in and been like, oh, motherfucker, this is like the PS4 Minecraft. This is the full-fledged Minecraft. This isn't the,
Pocket edition.
Exactly. Not even, Vita's in that weird space between spaces where it's like, oh man, the draw distance sucks and there's not as much happening. Whereas this one, you immediately jump in. So I played a few hours of this on the plane, more Minecraft, just went in, started mining, get my whole world done, learning about the new things, the new items, new creatures, things
Do
I haven't
you
seen
play with
before.
monsters and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, I just survival.
okay.
I survival on normal. I'm not out to impress anybody.
Yeah.
Somebody would if there's someone next to me and it turns out that they're esports Minecraft, I'd like them to think I have some skills, but I'm not like looking for them to be like, oh, here's the gold medal that we were given on this plane for Minecraft players. Because any plane is going to be a better Minecraft player than me,
Yeah, chances are they'll be under the age of 10.
Right. Then I wanted to, hey, Andy! I think you heard me good. So then, if I'm lying, I'm dying, Tim. This Andy Cortez over there keeps talking me up. Come here, don't be shy. Get on camera. Keeps talking up this cave story.
Oh, yeah.
That I need to play cave story.
Never
I need to
played
play
that
cave
either.
story.
Me neither, man.
Started it up very early on, but I'm playing it originally. It's like you're jumping on. Would you call it? What do you call the art style? I think here, Candy 8-bit.
No, it's like
8-bit.
SNES.
I mean, it's just it's pixelated.
Pixel art.
but,
Don't be afraid of the microphone. Get on top of it.
It's pixel art.
It's pixelated. So like, I'm like, oh, it seems like a normal thing. I'm getting killed a lot in the first little. I'm like, this is. And then I get the first gun, and that's when I was like, oh, it's me. How I always wanted to play these kind of games, where I was like getting my ass handed to me by some fucking Goomba. Or whatever the fuck Mega Man fights. I don't know. But you know what I mean? Those things where I'm like, no, now I want a cool gun and I can move quickly. Because Mega Man, of course, he's fucking Frankenstein out there. He shoots eggs out of his hand. We all know that. But he moves really awkwardly and like this guy doesn't.
Jumping on turtles.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
Give the pitch to you like Cave Story.
Yeah, so Cave Story, the more enemies you kill, it racks up sort of your level. So I've only gotten up to level 3. I don't know how much higher you can go. But when you're at level 3, your gun damage is like, it's a bigger blast and it's like more powerful. But as you get hit, not only does your health go away, but your level goes down as well. So then your gun is lessened. So you need to kill more in order to get your gun back to full power. It's really fun so far. I'm enjoying the story and the music fucking rules.
Cool. Thank you, Andy. So play that for a little bit.
It's
It's lit. Been looking on here. Played Splatoon 2 for a hot minute.
Me
Yeah,
too.
not feeling it.
I have not put enough time into it. I've been doing a lot of things. So
To be clear, too, this is just a preview. Reviews are embargoed. No, we're not reviewing it.
100%. No. I mean, I put in maybe 30 minutes of
Yeah,
it.
that
So,
sounds about right too. I went
yeah.
through the opening, got into the world, and went over to that woman and went down her hole, and then came up out of her other hole, and you know. What I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure. It is definitely more Splatoon. I think that it's really at home on Switch, and I am more motivated to want to play it. I just feel like right now it didn't grab me in a way where I'm like, I can't not
Exactly.
put this
That's
down.
what that was the thing. I think it might have actually been right after the Vita, where I was like, you know what, jump on Splatoon, and it was that thing of just like, I'm not in the mood to learn a new game. I don't know if that ever strikes you when you're on a plane or doing something. That's why I think I went back to Minecraft and put so many hours.
Want your
in.
comfort.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
really think Splatoon 2 is gonna hit though. Like just
hell yeah.
the level of quality that the game is, like even just from playing it for a little bit, I'm like, man, like there is something special here, and obviously people love the first one, and I think that the second one it has enough content with the single player and with all the other stuff. Like I think they got a big one on their hands right now,
Yeah.
especially coming off of ARMS, where it's like really good game, but it's it reminds me of Splatoon 1, where it's like there's not that much there,
Yeah.
and the DLC just came out today or whatever, but like I don't think that's really going to motivate too many people to play. I'm interested to see if ARMS has any lasting appeal.
If ARMS has legs.
Yeah, we need to know if ARMS has legs, because I wonder if there will be
Welcome back
a
to
kind
podcast.
of competitive scene that latches onto it and gets really good and
Sure.
keeps that game going.
You
And
and Jean-Vieve
if
say
the more
no.
DLC comes, if there's going to be more exciting things, like where is Little Mac? Like we got to get him somehow. I think that might be a good way to get people back in. But Splatoon, I think, is going to be really good, and I can't wait to play more of it. But
Yeah.
at the time, I was just like, all right, cool.
It strikes me as the same thing of playing it for a little bit. I'm like, oh, solid. I'm glad. I think people are gonna enjoy it. They're gonna be. I don't know if it's for me. I just don't know if it's like.
What was the first one for you?
Nah. Well, I mean, with the first one, I didn't give a chance. I hate the Wii U. You know what I
Okay.
mean? For as much as I joke about hating PC gaming, it's fine. And I got a couple games on Steam I need to play after this. But for the Wii U, man, I would fucking shoot it out of goddamn airlock.
There's
you know
some
what I
good
mean?
Wii U games out
Sure,
there.
there
though.
were, but they were trapped on a nightmare system.
I've actually been going back to my Wii U this week. So
Unconfirmed sources are reporting that it was going to be a bad one. Don't worry.
Oh,
I'll stop
okay.
myself.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because we can't do it anymore. We're live. I can't say the horrible things.
Gotcha.
Like, I'll
Gotcha.
call back later.
Yeah.
And then I played
That
Death
makes sense.
Squared because we did a party mode. Played it on Switch. It's still Death Squared. It's still awesome. The party mode, though, however, was sponsored, so take it with a grain of salt. Even though we played Death Squared when it came before for free, and it was awesome.
Death Squared is great. I love games that I feel like there's been a resurgence of like 4-player co-op games where it's designed around the couch co-op idea. But I love the puzzle aspect where it's like you got to work together, but you're going to hate each other. And I think this game does a really good job of every single level adding a different kind of twist on the thing that you've previously done, and every level that we played kind of like added and there wasn't any time where I'm like, this is just fucking bullshit frustrating because of the game design.
Yeah.
It was because of
It was
people.
how do I figure this puzzle out?
Yeah. So it's cool. I highly recommend it. Do you know the price on that one?
I can look it up for you.
Yeah, look it up because I feel like
on
it's
the story, you know, we're on it. Somebody sent me a screen cap of that.
Yeah, we're in the trailer.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're in the trailer for Death Squared, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Anthony, what have you been playing?
So I have been playing some Wii U. I've been playing New Super Mario Brothers U. I look
Oh.
for games that I can like. I have my games that I go play with my me time, and then
Sure.
I play some games with my fiance too.
Yeah.
And she likes a lot of platformers like that, and so I was just looking recently, going through my game collection, getting rid of all my cases and stuff, and I was like, oh, I have all these Wii U games she'd probably love. So I've been going back to that a little bit. We still play a lot.
Underrated. New Super Mario Bros. U. It came out at a time when nobody wanted more
I
of
bought
that
it, and I feel like I just dropped it.
Oh, yeah?
Like, I just didn't play it.
I beat it. I never 100%ed it and got all of the gold coins. But it's good, man.
It's
I
great.
feel like the level design is really solid in it, and I feel like so many people dismissed it because they didn't, like, at that point there was New Super Mario Bros. U and also New Super Mario Bros. 2.
Yeah.
Coming out in 3DS, and just like there's
was
too
a
much
lot.
of this fucking bullshit. But
Yeah.
it's a really solid game, and it's a good 2D Mario platformer.
It
but
is.
it is. I just still hate the art style, and I still think that it was like ran into the ground too much. But
Yeah, I guess that's for me. It's like there's been a huge enough break that going back, it's totally fine. It's like a thing to go back to. But and besides that, I've been mostly playing a ton of Battlegrounds, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
Ooh, $15, Bowie.
15,
okay.
totally worth it.
So, like,
that
are
square.
you good at it?
I would say of my Discord group, I'm one of the better people.
Yeah.
And like on squads, I have like there's a 40% chance in squads I will make top 10.
Okay.
I have a 2% win rate though, so it falls
you
apart in
can't
that
close
top
it.
end.
Can't close the
yeah,
deal.
that top 10. Like it just comes down to like I've got some victories in squads, I've got really close to victories in solos, and I've got a duo victory as well. So I am much better than I used to be in that game, and I've put in like 160 hours at this point. Like
shit.
that's been like the game I've been playing like every night.
It's one of those games that I look at, I'm like, that is awesome, and I really want to play it. Because when we did King of the Kill for H1Z1,
yeah.
I was like, this is a lot of fun. This one looks better. Everybody's so into it right now. It's just the fact of the matter of like, I'm trying not to jump. You know what I mean? Let's get to
if
Persona.
you're gonna do your Persona thing, yeah, there's no time
exactly.
because it is a game with like you definitely have to like learn it. Like the basics of the game: drop in, grab a weapon, fire. Okay, like anyone can learn that.
Yeah.
But you start feeling out like if you ask me now, I'm like, oh, we don't go to that part of the map because the RNG is like weaker, it's stronger over here, or there's like all these meta strategies. Drop in here, grab a car immediately, drive it to this place. Like there's a lot of stuff out there, and I would actually say the best way to learn is to actually go out and watch a lot of streamers. Like that was something I never used to do, and now I totally do it. Like Dr. Disrespect, I watch a lot of. I also watch this guy. TSM Vis, who's like the team solo mid, like one of the first esports players for it. He's really great to watch. Like, and I feel like watching them totally changed the way I played. Like I used to play where I'd lay down and crawl in the grass and just barely make it into the circle, and I'm just like, I'm trying to survive. Not anymore. I'm like,
these are the guys who are taking the cars and jumping out of them in the air and shooting people.
Yeah, exactly. Or they're like, they hunt for people and they talk like a squad. Like when you watch them play, it's like watching like the difference between like if we were in Red Dawn and we had guns and we were like, we got to try and live versus guys that had been like SEALs all their life and they're like, finally the government's
Ubisoft
coming
press
against
conference.
us. Yes, yeah, exactly. And so those dudes are out there.
Well, it's like we've been. I am still, even though I'm on a break right now because of the vacation, but I'm really deep into Friday the 13th. Like I fucking love Friday the 13th. And I've only played with one guy who was like so far beyond it with us, and I'm sure this is gonna sound dumb, at least. But he was like, we're like, where in the map is? He's like, I left the car keys over there. We're like, where is over there? Because we are always like, oh, it's over by this or the third house.
You had your
to the
own
south
terms.
and he's like, it's in D4. And we're like, what the fuck? And we finally all looked like, oh, the map says that it has like, oh fuck, we're idiots. We never ever paid
That's so
attention to
funny.
that.
Yeah. So that's how it is in Battlegrounds too, right? You start like when you first start, you find a scope and you're just like aiming down a scope and you're not accounting for bullet drop. And now you start looking and you're like, that's 400 meters. And so you're making your scope adjustments for 400 meters so that
awesome.
you're like trying to get a better shot. So, I mean, that game, obviously, like that's the game that like a lot of people are talking about right now. And I feel like it's justifiably so. Like it is a game full of like jank. Like they very much acknowledge that it is an early access game, but man, I feel like that game has like changed the conversation around shooters. Like Jeff Gerstmann, Giant Bomb, some other people have said it. Like there's going to be no doubt that like some shooter is going to have a mode like that. Like some big shooter, like whether it's Battlefield or something, will like that is not going to be like this thing that sits out there. Like there's H1 and there's that, and there's a couple other clones, but it's like.
Who's going to be the AAA studio that races
right?
to that?
Like this is like Rust. Like Rust was like that game too, and then other games came in like Ark and stuff and started chipping away at that. So it's like it's not like Battlegrounds. It's not. I don't think Battlegrounds is set to be like the League of Legends of Battle Royale. Like in the way like League is like so dominant in that genre. So I don't know. Like I feel like it's like we're about to next year E3 we will see so many Me Too's. It's going to be just like World of Warcraft, and all of a sudden there was like a bunch of MMOs
and that's why it's for like for PlayerUnknown. He's got to get that thing to console. I mean, I know they've already talked about Xbox. There's we'll come to PlayStation 4 later is what's been said. It's always so confusing with that shit. But yeah, they need to beat it before E3 because it will be if they can have that install base. If they can be there before Battlefield, Call of Duty, whoever wants to do it. Yeah.
I'm still chipping my way through Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy for the Platinum. now, beating all 3.
You are going for the platinum.
I mean, I feel like I have
You
to.
do.
At this
You've
point,
talked
man.
a lot of shit.
I mean, well, for a long time I said I wasn't going to do it, but I mean, now I'm just having so much fun going back and playing through the levels and trying to get the relics, and it's a fucking pain in the ass. But when you get it, it's so satisfying. And just seeing how many of the best friends out there are tweeting at me like screenshots of them platinuming, I'm like, all right, cool. It's possible. I got to do it.
For sure.
Wow.
So I'm very stoked about that. Have you played it all?
I mean, those games are hard.
They are fucking hard.
They remind you,
is
like,
very
like
hard.
a lot of our patience for stuff like that, and like, you know, nowadays, like the newest Mario, they're like, you won't even ever see a game over screen or anything like that. Like now we've just been catered to the point where it's like, we should have like the best checkpoints of all time. We should never have to restart a level in its entirety. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you go back to something like that and
Yeah, they rub your face in it.
Yeah, some of those levels are long and hard, but man, I'm having such a good time with it. The other thing that I want to talk about is the Nintendo, the new 2DS XL.
Yeah.
That's
All right?
what this thing is.
That is what this thing is.
This thing looks like a knockoff Nintendo DS. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Yeah, it does. Look at it. Let me see it. Like when I look at it, it totally reminds me of something from the late 90s you'd get like when you're getting ready to go to school. Like it's going to be like the Zender, and this is like the thing that comes
Actually,
out.
what it
this
reminds
whole
me
thing.
of is it looks like one of those old Tiger handhelds.
Yep. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this plays just the Tiger version of Street Fighter.
Here you go. It's Castlevania as he goes across.
So the thing with this is I have the original 3DS XL.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have the little C stick, and it's not the new 3DS XL.
Sure.
And when the new one came out, I was upset because I loved Smash Bros. Portably, and I was like, fuck, having a little C stick would be great, the better processing power, all that. Cool. I'm not in a place where I'm going to actually pay money to get the new version of it, right? And then for a long time, and then the 2DS came out, and everyone's like, what the fuck? And this looks like shit.
Get this doorstop
And we all
outta
like
here.
talk shit about it.
Yeah.
But from what I hear, the people that have it love it, and it is their preferred 3DS family system because it's really comfortable, even though it looks like it's
just the giant
just
box.
a weird ass like doorstop.
Yep.
But then now they announced this, and no one understood why. But everyone's like, oh, this is probably going to be the definitive 3DS family system because no one actually plays in 3D. Most of the game, there's still so many 3DS games coming out, and a lot of them don't even have a 3D
I know
option.
Pikmin's like almost here.
Hey, Pikmin is almost here, and it does not have a 3D option at all. The Samus Returns coming out, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga Deluxe or whatever they're calling it. There's that Miitopia game. There's like a ton of shit coming. So I'm like, all right, cool. This thing makes sense. And I was excited to get it because I was like, I want an upgrade from this just for when I do play 3DS games and when Metroid comes out and all that. I hate this thing.
Oh, that's not where I expected that to go
I
at all.
fucking hate this thing for one real reason.
Tell me.
So things I like about it.
Sure.
The buttons, bigger than the 3DS buttons. You know how I get about my button sizes.
He's got like monkey fingers or something. I don't know.
I hate this shit. I hate it. But it actually, I like the colors. I like how it looks.
Yeah.
The processing is way faster than the thing I had. So it's like turning games on and stuff. I'm like, great. The loading for Smash Bros. Way faster.
Oh, wow.
But I think that's just the new system. I don't think it's a 2DS thing, right? Because I'm making a jump from that. But the biggest problem is this hinge. There's this hinge. That
Oh,
they
see,
got.
I'm
Can you
stupid.
give me the one or the?
I thought it was a stylus. Skycam.
No, this is a hinge. All right.
Okay.
Notice this one doesn't have it.
Yeah.
This has the extra buttons, which is really nice. But if you notice, my fingers hit the hinge.
Big old ape fingers.
Even if I'm touching the and even when it's all open,
Yeah.
there's not room for my fingers to be back there.
Yeah.
Like
If you're listening at home, imagine like carrots, and those are Tim's fingers, not baby carrots.
Yeah,
but
there's,
like, you
there's
know.
a lot of room on this.
and then on the 3DS XL,
see.
there's a lot of room. And that's one of those things that just breaks this from me. Everything else
no.
about it, I totally love. But man,
So wait, you're saying you think it's the hinge that's getting in the way of hitting these guys?
well, I think it's the hinge and also the fact that because
It's
of the
not
hinge,
as
it brings
thick.
the whole top back.
Let me see.
Like,
yeah. No.
Here, my fingers don't even touch the back.
Call. Yeah.
Try it.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Now that I'm seeing it.
You know, it is super light. So that's cool.
Good news is there's not that many games on it, so you're fine.
There's there's so many games and there's still so many coming.
Vast library,
Good
PlayStation
Lord.
Vita.
No, that's
Yeah, if
not
you
how
like
that's saying-
JRPGs.
that's
Yeah,
not
you
how
know
that
what? I
saying
do.
No, you don't.
goes. You don't.
Occasionally.
Anyway, I'm a little upset about it
More
because
visual novels. Do you
I
like
was-
creepy ass visual novels?
I was looking forward to this just because there was a lot of hype for it, and everyone was like talking about how this is going to be the best of the 3DS systems, and I was like, all right, cool, great. And now that I have it, I'm like, man, kind of sad about
Womp,
it.
womp, womp.
But
Do you want to just take my other? You want to take my 3DS with the stick?
the 3DS XL?
Yeah, because I
I don't know
have.
because mine's pretty in blue, so I like this one just color wise.
What color's mine?
I don't know, but anyway, I'll be fine when I get Metroid. I think I'm going to play it on my 3DS XL. not this guy, which is
Sure,
which
I mean,
is really
because I
sad.
put a Kind of Funny sticker on mine, I remember.
But I
Might
mean, let's just
some
be
kind
real.
of
Can we just move on to the Switch already?
Hell yeah.
Like, God, it's time. Ooh. Now it's time for the next segment, which is This Week in Gaming History. 1 year ago, Greg,
Yeah, I'm listening. 1 year
on
ago.
July 12th, 2016, Song of the Deep came out
No
on
shit.
PS4 and PC. It's been a whole year since one a year.
Yeah,
Games of the year
one
last
of my
year,
top,
one of your top 10.
Are you being
10.
serious?
Yeah, I love Song of the Deep, man. It touched me. It was one of the, like, we're talking, for me, did you ever play Unfinished Swan?
Yeah.
Did you play Song of the Deep?
I did not play Song of the Deep, but
Okay.
I enjoyed Unfinished Swan a lot.
Unfinished Swan and Song of the Deep did the same thing for me, where it was like, I want to be wrapped in a blanket and play this. Because it's both, it's the same
Song
idea.
of the
right?
Deep is like a story game?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, it's like a children's book story game, right?
I
If
didn't
it's
know
like,
that.
Yeah, there's this.
It's like a light Metroidvania.
There's this lovely voice. It's a woman. She's got an Irish brogue, and she's telling you the story of Marin and her dad who went lost at sea or whatever. And then you get your little ship and you go through and you Metroidvania around, but then you get to like not cut scenes, but like scenes that are like comic book pages or aren't. And it feels like someone is telling you a story. The downside, not the downside, but the weird thing about it, right, is that I entered into that. That game had a bunch of different problems in terms of like, I think, marketing and what it was. It was Game Trust and them coming out of the gate with Insomniac trying to do something different, something cool. But it's like, I remember when the trophies hit, it was like, oh, it doesn't have a platinum. Oh, that makes sense. It's this, smaller game or whatever. And you got into it, was like, no, it's 12 hours. It's going to go on. And it was like, because Unfinished Swan was 2 hours, whatever it was, 3 hours,
Right.
where you could sit there and play it, and it was like in one sitting, you'd be like, oh, that was so great and so awesome and touching. Whereas this one was like, I had to keep breaking it up. I went on a trip, I came back, I had to finally sit there and like commit to beating it. But it was fun. I liked it, Song of the Deep a lot. I don't think it got enough play. It didn't do terribly with reviews, but I want to say like IGN gave it like a 7 or something like that.
It's like part of the summer sale right now.
Oh, yeah?
I should pick it up.
It's definitely-
I looked at it and thought about it, but
The compliment I always pay is that it struck a chord with me to the extent that I talked about how much I love this game, and I don't think many people were doing that. And so like Insomniac and Game Trust sent me like all the swag. And so in the collector's edition is like a novelization of it, but I mean like is like a children's novelization or whatever. And I keep it on my shelf. So when I have kids, I'm gonna read them that book.
Are you being serious?
I like 100%. Like I really dug the story, and I thought Marin was a cool character. And she's went to point at my laptop. I have a sticker of her on my thing. I think I still have the Funko Pop on my desk. Like yeah, it resonated with me. And it's one of those games that it wasn't oh my god 10 out of 10 blow my hair back, but it was like this is fun, solid, and I like it. It was pretty.
yeah, I'll check it out.
Okay.
11 years ago, on July 11th, 2006, the original Prey came out on Xbox 360 and PC. Were you a big Prey guy?
I played the original one, and I actually thought it was really cool. Some of the stuff it did with like perspective changing, like you'd go through a portal and you'd all of a sudden be running around on the surface of a little planet, and you would look and you would be in like a glass dome inside the room that you were just in. Did some really cool stuff. I'm a bigger fan of the new Prey.
Yeah,
but,
are you?
Yeah.
I liked it a lot coming up in previews, and then I started on a Saturday, and it was the same thing where I played like 5 hours, and I was like, all right, cool.
That's a game that came out, and then other games derailed my playing of it. But that's
Yeah.
a game that, like Persona, you have to commit to it because it is like a 20-something hour investment
Yep.
to really get to. And it starts off really fast, and then it dips, and then it rises back up over time. But that Prey is definitely a game. Full disclosure, I have a lot of friends that work on that.
Sure.
But it's a game that I feel like people should give a shake to.
14 years ago, on July 11th, 2003, Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Brothers 3 came out on
Fuck
GBA.
you with that
Yeah.
name. Come on.
It was even worse with Super Mario Advance 3, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
Just stop.
But no, I loved those games so much when they came out on the GBA. I feel like for me, I had my Super Nintendo, and Super Mario All-Stars plus World was my first game that I owned, and those were the first ever remasters of a game in a collection like that. And I loved those, and those are the versions I grew up with. Those were what was ported here. It was weird having to wait a year to play each one, but I have such fond memories of going back, and I loved all the additions they added in there of having the Yoshi coins and all that. And I thought they were great ports. The one I just gave shit, Yoshi's Island, it was a little weird because the sound was bad, and they added Yoshi's fucking and all those stupid ass noises. But Super Mario Brothers 3, the Advance 4 was great because that was the one that added the card reader. Remember that? The e-card thing? And they had a bunch of new Super Mario Bros. 3 levels. So those were fun. Then eventually Nintendo kind of gave up on that and was just like, we got to stop. I remember Best Buy was just trying to get rid of all the cards, so they were just giving them out. So then I got all the levels. It was great. Then, This one's a big one for you, more saying out there.
Oh, shit. Armored
20
Core.
years ago, on July 10th, 1997, Armored Core came out on the PlayStation in Japan.
There you go,
Cool.
more. Enjoy
That's
it.
for you. That was for you. And then 30 years ago, on July 13th, 1987, Metal Gear on the NES.
Speaking of really hard games,
MGX 2?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
trying
You
to
ever
play that
play
game.
it?
That game's hard.
I played it, I played the NES version or whatever. It was in the subsistence things or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Never beat it.
I
Couldn't do it.
Oh, no way. Yeah, like I remember my Metal Gear knowledge starts with Metal Gear Solid and being at a friend's house in high school and seeing that he had an NES piled up and he had Metal Gear. I was like, holy shit, can I borrow this? And I went home and played it. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, how do you save? What is going on? Like, I'm
because he didn't give you the instruction booklet. Did he? Like back then, you needed instruction booklets to explain mechanics.
No fucking idea what I was doing in that game.
Yeah, there's been so many times I've went back and tried to play it, like when the collection came out, or the subsistence came out, and then later when they did the collection on the HD collection for PS3, and then later when they did it on Vita, I tried playing on Vita, and it was just like, it was too hard. There you go. We have it.
Again, not that version's birthday. Right?
I think
there was time between MGX and
I think this might be the confusion we're
the
having
art of that
earlier.
cover, which is like so very blatantly ripped off from a still from Aliens.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It is,
So-
it is
totally
it is,
Kyle or
it is
Kyle.
straight
It's
up
Michael
pics.
Biehn. Michael
Yeah,
Biehn.
Michael Biehn, like from Aliens, and it's just like ripped off, like hardcore.
Yeah.
There you go. Why the fuck not? Now it is time for topic of the show. The topic of the show is, what is the game of the year so far? We are over halfway through the year. Normally on the Gamescast, we would check in every couple months and do this, but we haven't yet. So I went to Twitter and asked you guys what you thought the game of the year is so far. We got hundreds of responses.
And unanimously, Mr. Masaji.
No, didn't even get a mention. There was very few games that got mentions by just like one person. There was a lot that were like everyone agrees on.
Obviously.
One that a random one that I just want to give a shout out to was from Benny Hellfish, who said Ghost Recon Wildlands is the best co-op game in forever.
Shut the fuck up.
It is a great that game is
Sure,
that
but
game, the
that's
story
fine.
is stupid and all that, but it's like a playground. It is like, you know, like how people have always said, man, I really wish we could play GTA together.
Yeah.
It is that. Like it is like jump in with GTA and just wreck a world. Like,
Yeah, okay.
It's that with 4 people. Like,
I was just saying, I'm sorry, game of the year. So we're giving shout outs here. We're not just jumping to the top to the
No,
fight.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like there's a couple random ones that didn't get too many. Another one, Travis Brinky. Give a shout out to What Remains of Edith Finch.
I thought the game was Travis Brinky. I was like, I
What the
totally
fuck
missed
is
this
that?
Steam indie sale game. No, Edith Finch definitely deserves a nod in terms of like. Here's the way I'm going to start assembling this while we talk about this. Is I'm going to talk in terms of what'll be on my Giant Bomb top 10. You know what I mean? I think that's a good way to go. Because I think when you get down to game of the year, there's Friday the 13th and that's it. But when you talk about what could be, anyways, go on. Sorry. Edith Finch, I think will make. I think is in my running for a top 10 pick.
Edith Finch got a couple shout outs. There's maybe like 3 or 4 people that said it. Then at Fraz says Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Ooh, God, I didn't even think. Yeah, Resident Evil
specifically in VR. Yeah, it was early January. So there you go. And Resident Evil 7 got a couple other nods as well. And then we start getting to the point where it's like a lot of people were saying things.
Here we are.
Mario Kart Hero, Nier Automata, and I would say there's maybe 30 people that said that as well. Lord X says Persona 5 by leaps and bounds, the best 99 hours I've spent this year.
so the only game he played.
Yeah,
And then countless Horizons and Zelda.
sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
So I feel like they kind of nailed it when it comes down to what is the conversation. Horizon, Zelda, Persona, somewhere in there. And I guess then you get a little bit more niche with like Nier and Resident Evil.
Nier's one of those games though that like every person that finally sits down and play it comes out like a convert on the other side.
I need to, man.
Yeah, it's
I'm
on
going
the
to
list.
fucking love that game.
Yeah, I haven't played it either, but every time I've heard someone, they're like, fine, I'll try it. And they're like, oh, wait, okay, you were right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So,
I should have listened to her.
yeah, so I feel like that's one that could at the end of the year be one of those games that like a lot of sites will just be like, yeah, just no one played it. Like,
Yeah.
But maybe it was
But,
awesome.
hey, shout out to that.
Yeah.
It'll get nominated in a lot
Yeah.
of things. So from those, then from Horizon, Persona, and Zelda, how many have you played?
I've played. Wait, so which one's Horizon? Zelda?
Horizon, Zelda, Persona.
I've only played Zelda, but I have played all the way through. And Horizon I watched a bunch of, but I did not actually. It was because Horizon and Zelda came at the same time, and I put like over 100 hours in Zelda. Like, and that was a game that I bought with my Switch because I needed something. And I've never been a huge Zelda person, like since the Super Nintendo one. All the 3D Zeldas never really got into. And I was like, sure, I'll buy it. I'm probably not going to like it. And I was like, oh, holy shit. I this is like the best thing I've played. Like I was addicted to it, playing it in bed, playing it on TV. Like, man, that for me is probably like the thing to be dethroned. Now, granted, I didn't play Horizon.
Sure.
And I liked Persona 4, but I didn't I
love it.
was not the persons that we knew that were like, buying all the swag and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Andrew Goldfarb.
Andrew,
You can just call him by name.
Andrew
You can call him by
Goldfarb.
name.
Andrew Goldfarb. Yes. So, but
Say his name.
I want to, like for me, the thing is like Persona, the thing I hate about it is I don't like turn-based combat in that JRPG style, but I really love the dumb high school stuff. Like that's the thing I play. So Persona 5 is like one of those ones I want to get to at some point. Have not yet.
Sure.
And Horizon was just a matter of time in my life.
Yeah.
So.
Another game that was brought up a lot that I forgot to actually write down here was PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
Right, which that's the other reason I haven't played these other games because I've put way too much time into Battlegrounds.
Right.
So
Is there any other game that you would nominate that isn't here?
I think that Prey will be one of those games that ends up in the conversation. Just because I feel like that game is like in many ways like in the same vein as BioShock and Deus Ex and all that. Like that game, I think that game got completely overlooked in the month that it came out.
Agreed.
Like it just no one talked about it, no one played it, and I feel like it's going to be one of those games that a lot of people someday are going to pick up on a Steam sale and be like, "Holy shit! Like this is crazy," because it is from like the people like its pedigree is BioShock, it is Dishonored, it is all those things, and it is a crazy game in that level. Just it is a really cool, special first-person adventure. Like it is still shooting and stuff like that, but it is like an adventure game, like with like very deep lore and really cool stuff. But yeah, that would be like one of the only ones that like stands out to me that maybe hasn't gotten a nod yet. I think we're right on the cusp though of a bunch of games that are going to be part of the conversation.
100%.
Like August in particular is like a crazy month to me.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I actually think that Mario versus Rabbids thing is going to be like amazing.
But do you think it's going to be in the Game of the Year conversation?
At least as far as when Nintendo games go, for
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Because I know that'll be a small conversation, but like,
I mean, I don't know, actually. This year, Nintendo's really hitting it hard between Zelda, Mario Kart, the Rabbids game, Mario Odyssey, ARMS, Splatoon,
That's true.
Metroid.
that's true. And
If Mario
things like
and
Snipper
Luigi
Clips and all
come
these
out,
other,
Snipper Clips, there's a lot there when you look at the 3DS and Switch.
That's true. I think that it'll be at least part of the conversation at the end of the year of people talking about best surprise. And then for me, it's also a lot of strategy games. Total War Warhammer 2, which is like a thing I nerd out on.
Yeah.
And then the new XCOM 2 expansion. Like,
Yep.
that's like,
I mean, August still has Uncharted.
oh yeah.
The
And
Lost Legacy.
yes, that is like,
I will continue.
I don't even think about that because it's a must buy. Like,
I will continue to stress this as I did on that Games Daily episode. Like everyone is sleeping on that game. That game is going to, I think, catch a lot of people off guard. And when I say that, I mean even us, where I did a whole show about it, and then like 3 shows later, we were talking about like what's coming out. I'm like, there's something else in August. I know August is, and I couldn't remember Uncharted. It's like it's a real Uncharted coming out. Like what
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's going to be great. It's going to be cool. I think it's going to catch a lot of people off guard.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the single player.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like that's the type of game that I could never actually believe is going to be the game of the year just because of what it is. You know, a
Yeah.
sequel, it's
Sure.
Star Wars, it's all these things that people would kind
And
of
it's
not
Mitch.
give the credit for. And it's fucking
He's
Mitch.
pissed. He's pissed off the entire video game industry. No one's gonna.
But I'm so excited for that. And I do think that it can be a really special game that will definitely be in my top 10 if it is as good as I expect it to be.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's another one of my must buys this year for sure. Not only because I'm a huge Star Wars fan and because Mitch worked on it, but also because I'm curious to see like an original Star Wars story
Right.
in the new canon.
Yeah.
Like, and especially from the perspective that they're taking. And it's not just Mitch, it's Mitch and this guy, Walt Williams, who wrote
Spec Ops:
The Line, which is another criminally underrated shooter. Like that game was always marketed as like a total like Call of Duty bro thing, and it was not at all.
No.
It was more like a haunting war
Psychological.
tale.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a crazy game.
So then, Tim, what is your game of the year right now?
I mean, so that's the thing. Playing through these, I didn't touch Persona. I'm never going to touch Persona. It's just too big of a game. I'm sure I'd love it though, because all this high school shit like this is right on my alley. But yeah, just too much for me. But yeah, I beat Horizon, beat Zelda, and to me, I want to say it's close, but it's not. Like it's Zelda. Like I love Horizon, and I think that Horizon is only getting beat because there has to be a game of the year.
Sure.
It's a fucking amazing game, and it is one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life.
Yeah.
But Zelda, man, it's just so special, and I cannot imagine that anything else could beat it this year. Mario Odyssey being the one thing where I'm like, I love Mario. Mario is my favorite franchise, and to have it go back to that 64 roots, if they Breath of the Wild Mario that would be like the one thing that can dethrone Zelda, because I like Mario more than Zelda. But having said that, I almost don't think that's possible. And I'm very interested to see where we come down to it with Odyssey and where it actually falls in the lineage of Mario games. Because when I look at Zelda, it is my favorite Zelda game of all time. When I look at Breath of the Wild, like it beat Link to the Past, which blows my mind because I hold that to such high regards.
Yeah.
So for a game to be better than Link to the Past in my mind and not be Game of the Year this year would be shocking.
Sure. Yeah, that's the thing for me. I haven't sat down in my chambers and thought long and hard about it,
the
right?
pipe. Yeah,
exactly. Smoke the drug. That's how they do it, right?
Yeah.
It's slapping. I think I would go right now between Zelda and Horizon. I think I'd go Horizon, which is surprising because I love Zelda. Like, and this is the same thing, right? We're not taking away.
I was looking for the Switch to turn
it off, push the microphone down. Well, stick with me. And like I think you brought up something I've never thought of before, where you're like, it's my favorite Zelda, right? My favorite Zelda is still Ocarina of Time. And
really?
Yeah. And my reasoning behind that, I think, is the fact that same reason I think I like Horizon more is that I remember more of the story of Horizon, if that makes sense. Whereas like I remember really cool moments and twists and turns as well as awesome gameplay. Whereas when I now sit here and think about Zelda, what I think about is, man, I loved that divine beast and I loved figuring this part out and I loved exploring and climbing and leveling up, but I never felt a connection to Link and I never felt anything in the story. So did I enjoy the world as much based on that? Did I, you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
I guess it comes down totally. It's whether you connected with the narrative or like for me, the reason I love Zelda is the same reason I love Battlegrounds, which sounds weird at first, but it's mostly that there was so many shareable story moments where I would go to my friend and be like, can you believe I ran into a bear and then I found out I could ride it? Something like that when, just like in Battlegrounds, you're like, oh, I saw two cars hit and they went flying in the air, like just the stupid moments. And that's why Zelda was so special to me was that I didn't care about the narrative at all. Yeah. But it was like climbing up to that mountain, looking out and being like, can I get to that? Yeah. What do you mean? There's like, and then you'd go and you'd be like, oh, it's an island where you lose everything. And that's what to start. Like it was just crazy little moments.
Right? And that's the thing is like I love Zelda for that reason as well. It's just now in hindsight being removed from both of them. I feel like I think back more fondly on my time with Horizon based on the fact that I loved the gameplay there and I loved the story. Whereas with Zelda, I loved the gameplay and I loved running around and discovering all that.
The thing with Zelda to me about you saying that you still think Ocarina of Time is better, I think the reason that I put it over Link to the Past, because if I were to rank all the Zeldas, like probably, and I would need to really think about this, but now I'd probably go Breath of the Wild, Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time. And they're all pretty close. Yeah. Because I always go back and forth between Link to the Past and Ocarina. But to me, Link to the Past, I'm just a fan of that style of game more. But I don't really have the fond memories of the time of Link to the Past. I played Link to the Past way later when it came out, when it was like re-released on and stuff like that. But with Ocarina of Time, I have those memories of playing through it and having the, kind of like, I'll never forget where I was when I did this. So you attach that, and it's hard to detach that when you're talking about, did I like this better than this? And what blows my mind about Breath of the Wild is I never thought it was possible for a game to make me feel that again, and it did. Yeah. Being, at the time, 27 years old in 2017 and being like, holy crap, everyone that plays games we're all these fucking jaded assholes that don't want to go to E3 and, have covered games for so long that they don't even have fun doing it anymore. All of a sudden, they're little kids again. They're having this shared experience where it's like, we are all utterly in love with this game and can't stop gushing about it. And I think that in 20 years, I'm going to think back on Breath of the Wild the same way that I think back to Ocarina and all that. That's a great point. And I think there's something really special about that because I would have bet money against ever feeling that again.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Yeah. And then I do want to be Persona, and I will be Persona. Fuck you, Cheeks Jr.
I do think though that like regardless of ultimately if like Horizon doesn't get that, like the biggest cool thing about Horizon to me as like a person that now makes games is like seeing a studio change direction so completely and seeing it work out for them. Yep. That's really cool. Because they really were just the Killzone place. They make Killzone. They make Killzone.
Guerrilla reinvented themselves.
And then all of a sudden they're making this weird adventure game with like characters that were endearing and stuff. I was like, I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah. Horizon is special, man. Yeah. There's something about that game from, I think, all aspects when it comes to gameplay, when it comes to story, when it comes to characters, and the look of it. It's just so breathtakingly beautiful. And it really puts it in a league of its own where you can only compare it to things like Naughty Dog's games. Yeah. And it's like, there are so few games that you can be like, look at these. They are on the same caliber.
Here's another thing for me in this argument that we're not having because we all respect these games and care about it. Friday. No, I'm kidding. I miss Horizon. You know what I mean? Like, I miss playing Horizon. I see they added, like, you know how into photo mode I was at launch? They've added, like, you know, different poses and stuff for her. I'm like, oh, I wish I had a motivation to go that. That's why, like, that new DLC gets me so excited. Whereas with Zelda right now, granted, I know it's apples and oranges a bit right now, but that Zelda DLC dropped and I was like, that doesn't motivate me to go back.
But I want DLC that makes me want to go back because I want to capture that feeling that Tim was talking about. Again, I want it to come back.
So my thing with it's kind of flipped with you because what you're talking about Horizon adding more poses and stuff, that's what I see DLC Pack 1 for Zelda being. It's not.
And you're correct. I'm talking about the DLC.
The Champions Ballot thing coming out at the end of the year and the not Uncharted, the Horizon DLC coming out. I think those are more comparable.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm excited for both. I cannot wait for the Zelda one. And I'm so stoked that like they're going the direction they are, where it's like we are going to get a bit more story stuff. We get to play as the champions, or not play as, but play. I don't know. Whatever they're going to do with that, I am so excited for that magic. Whereas Horizon, I'm like, what are they going to do? I'll get to it when I get to it. You know, I'm not chomping at the bit to get back to that.
Sure. You suck.
No, I'm with Tim on this, man.
No, I know. I know that I'm in the minority on it, or so I think.
I don't know. I mean, especially based on
it's another one of those games where I think
it's so close.
What a fucking year for games, and I still haven't played Nier.
My thing is, I think that when this year is over, it is going to be remembered as one of the greatest years in video game history. And I think the only thing even close is 1998. And this will be a topic for another day. I want to actually go through and when we get close to the end of the year, being able to actually say that.
Sure.
Is there anything we're missing though? Any games that we think are going to be in the conversation? Because to me, I do think it's going to come down to Mario Odyssey, Zelda, and Horizon.
I don't think it'll be in. It's so hard to say based on the little bit I've played. I don't think it'll be on that conversation level. I think a lot of people's top 10s are going to have Wolfenstein 2 in it.
Yeah, that's a game I'm definitely looking forward to. The first Wolfenstein was a complete surprise, and the second one looks like it's going to be amazing. Machine Games has the sort of pedigree of coming from Starbreeze, who makes some of the best first-person stories ever made, and so. Like, yeah, that's like a definite one for me. I still think is that EA game coming out this year? The one that's like about the two dudes escaping out of prison? That's one.
No Way Out? No, it's not No Way Out. A Way Out.
A Way Out.
I don't think it's this year, is it?
Okay. I think the other one that could be a part of the conversation, as I say, and now I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I know. I just like had a brain fart as we were talking.
Last day of June.
The last day? No.
It's an indie game. I think it'll be on my top 10 based on a little bit I played.
I think two games I think people will still be talking about at the end of the year that we haven't mentioned is Tacoma will probably be one, just because like Gone Home like hit people so hard, and then the other one is obviously Destiny 2. Like Destiny 2 is going to be like, it may not be part of my world, but like Destiny 2 is going to be the game that people will not shut up about once it's out.
Right. That's a great point. I am looking forward to Destiny 2.
We kind of brought this up a little bit, but do you think PlayerUnknown Battleground will be in the conversation at the end of the year?
I guess it comes down to, do you count early access games? Because I think it'll be out of early access. Some people don't. But I think that, in that case, then yes, 100%. Like that will be my personal, if I was making a giant bomb list, that'd probably be my number one.
Yeah.
Because that.
Even over Zelda,
only because like Zelda was a very special thing for me personally, but like I haven't had like a group of people that I logged into an audio and saw who's online. Oh my God, we can form a group and we can get some Battlegrounds time. And like that game consumed me in a way that a lot of games haven't, where like I'm like, I have 4 hours to kill. I'm going to immediately hop on Battlegrounds and see who's there, you know, and like just that game for me and for shooters to me is doing something that I don't think I've seen shooters do since Call of Duty like 2 or something like that. Like I think that game is going to literally transform the conversation about shooters and stuff like that, just because it is antithetical to a lot of shooter mentality. There's no recharging health. There's like, it's archaic in a lot of its like way that it makes you handle things, and when you die, you're dead. That's it. You know, and like that's like what shooter does that nowadays. But that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Like there's only one winner. Like there's no like ranking up or at least you did kind of good. No, you either won or you didn't. Move on to the next time. Like that's something very special.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, stay tuned. We're going to keep this conversation going. Final segment of the day, the audience Q&A. This is brought to you by Patreon producer Tom Bach. Thank you, Tom Bach, for helping make this show happen.
Kevin put Tom's face on the wall. No,
okay. It's not how this show works.
We're not doing
and also, thank you to all the other Patreon supporters who helped make this happen. Thank you.
Kevin put all their faces on the wall.
Every single one of their faces, Kevin. So if you want to ask a question with us, you can go to kindoffunny.com/Gamescast, just like all these people did. This one comes from Dylan the Trick.
Dylan the Trick.
No question. Just wanted to say congrats on the engagement.
Thank you, Dylan.
And squish, squish.
Squish, squish. Yeah.
I'll never escape this dumb thing that Greg made up.
I'm trying to help your branding. Everyone on Knockin' Boots has a catchphase except Anthony, so I gave him one squish, squish.
Just squish, squish.
It is something that I resisted for like 12 episodes, and then I finally said one time just to appease Greg.
Lost it.
Yeah,
and now we make shirts with it and we do all sorts
Of course. Just classic Greg Miller.
Yeah,
Just double down on a thing and just
even if
keep
you don't
going.
want
God forbid I help someone's career, Tim.
I love it. I appreciate it. Elite Ben says, what's it like going from the journalism side of the video game industry to making the games?
So I was thinking about that. I don't want to make it sound derisive in any way, but it felt a little bit like when I went from being in high school thinking, man, my life's really hard, to being in college and realizing how much harder my life could be, in the sense that like I had a lot of fun like making, like, I'm not saying I don't have fun now, right? But like every day going to IGN, not knowing what I was going to do, like, I guess I should just clarify what I mean by that is that at IGN, I feel like I probably could have never have gotten fired. Right? There was no way I was going to lose my job if I didn't make this video, or if I was a day late on a review. Who cared? And the first time I went into a dev, it was like, we literally have a milestone, and if we don't hit it, we're not going to get paid. And if we don't have pay, we're going to lay everyone off. And I was like, this is like real high stakes. It felt scary, you know, and that was a little bit like unnerving. Yeah. But now that I'm like more in the flow of it, it actually is like the same kind of like level of stress, you know, just a different sort of thing.
Do you ever miss it? Do you ever miss the?
Oh, I 100% do.
Yeah.
Doing this is like my comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
You know, people at my job will ask me like, "Oh, will you go do this live show or something like that?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Like that is so easy for me. Like they're like, "Write this. Do we need a script for something?" I'm like, "I can do that." Like, this is like this is the work that I'm comfortable with. I'm still finding my feet in development. You know, like it's the hardest part for me is that I do this job and then I work with some kid who's like 22 and he's gone to a game design school and he's like running circles around me, and I'm like, oh man, like writing about games and stuff, that was my element for like 7 years, and so it's just been a little rough feeling like I went into it thinking I got this no problem, and I felt like imposter syndrome super hard.
Yeah.
So that was like the biggest thing, was like getting to a point where I felt like I could even say I was a game designer. Like I remember Warren Price, who's a friend of ours who works on South Park. Like I saw him and he was like, "Hello, fellow game designer," when I got my job, and I was like,
"No, don't say that."
I was like,
I haven't earned that yet.
Exactly. Like now I feel a little bit more comfortable with it, but it was, you know, it was just like when I graduated from high school, I thought I was hot shit, and when I went into college, I realized like I don't actually know how to write a paper. High school did not prepare me, and so I went into game development thinking I know fucking games. This is gonna be fine. And I was like, oh no, I suck, and I have to start over. That was the fucked up part about it. So
similar question here from Doggy. What's been the hardest thing in game dev besides making doors explode?
Yeah, it is learning how to accept that you're not going to get to make the thing great. Like, I think for me, a hard part of it was that coming from IGN and having a lot of my friends like you guys and stuff that would like, if I worked on something, you might give me help coverage, or you guys might tweet it out. Like when I tweet something out, that meant though that there was more people who were like, hey, I want to check out this game because Anthony worked on it. And I'm like, and my first game that I worked on was not that great. Like, I'm okay with saying that it wasn't, but I see people are like, hey, I see it comes out in a month. I'm going to buy it because you worked on it. And I was like, no, like, I don't want you to like be mad at me. And so I just say, but I couldn't say that. And I just be like, I hope you like it. Right. Like,
yeah.
And so the hardest part for me was having to accept. And I had a really good talk with my executive producer at the time, like, because he would see me being like, I was like, I have 50 bugs I have to get in. And he'd just be like, you're never going to do it. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, just start closing them because you're just going to ship with bugs. And I was like, and he's like, it's your first game. I get it. Like, you want it to be perfect, and it will never be perfect. And so you just have to learn to accept good enough, which is like, that was a weird thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know. It was for something that feels so much more permanent. Like, I was like, I don't know if I, that was really hard for me to do that. And then like, like going and watching people play the game, and I'd see them like fall through the world because I knew that was a bug that we hadn't fixed. And I'd just be like, oh man, that's so hard to do, because like, that's just it. When you see these games come out, whether it's Mass Effect or anything, and they're like, man, how could the devs not have known? Like, they knew. They all know. Right. And they agonize over it, and they lose sleep over it, and they're like,
gotta ship.
I have to ship because in the end, I am a part of a company, and we have to, like, in the end, the money will run out.
Yeah.
So
he's being hard on himself too. His first game was Journey. I mean,
yeah.
All through the world there. Travis Teaspoon says, which comic characters does Anthony now like as a result of working on Marvel Heroes? And are there any that he likes less now?
Which ones do you hate?
There are certain characters. I mean, I don't hate any of them, but there's some lore stuff that I see that I think is kind of silly. Like when we were making Jubilee as a team up in the PC one, I was like, Jubilee, I don't know much about her. Let's do some reading about Jubilee. I was like, Jubilee became a vampire at one point.
Oh, yeah.
See,
I think she still is.
Okay. See, that was one of those things I was like, my last touch-in with Jubilee was in the 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
And so, like, I was like, Jubilee's had 20 years past that. So, there's little things like that I see that I think are kind of ridiculous. Or you, like, learn about some character that, like, is, like, such a small, like, villain, but you're like, I can't believe that's a real character. I'm spacing out. Like, but characters I've learned more about that I've really grown to like, there's a lot. Like, I used to think Spider-Woman. I was like, who cares about Spider-Woman? What makes Spider-Woman special? She's actually got a ton of unique powers. Cool. She's very different than Spider-Man. She's not at all the same character.
I'm glad they play with that too. I've read a couple Spider-Woman books lately.
Yeah, and like, I think I'm a big fan of a lot of the new stuff they've done, all different stuff where, like, you have Miss Marvel and it's not Captain Marvel. Like, they switched that up. Miss Marvel's Kamala Khan, and she's stretchy and, like, cool and unique that way. Like, I'm a big fan of a lot of the stuff that they did that way. I think I've also grown, like, a deeper appreciation for War Machine, like, he was like he was relatively unknown until the MCU stuff sort of pushed him out. And so, but he's actually, like, got really cool stuff, and he's got a crazy comic arc. If you want to see, like, that guy becomes a crazy robot's killer cyborg. He's awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that, like, mostly, I would still say mostly it's the MCU stuff. It's not even working on the game as much as just, like, immersing myself more in the movies and the comics that surround the movies is kind of, like, expanded my knowledge of it. I would still say my favorite character at this point is still Blade. Like,
that was your first one, right?
Blade? Yeah, Blade was, like, the first character that I worked directly on, and I've always thought that the movies with him were pretty excellent. And, I think those movies are really important for helping get comic movies rolling again in a way. And at the time when I watched it, of course, I didn't know these were any way related to comic characters. But even when you go back to classic Blade, he's such a cool character. Also voiced by
Dave Fennoy. Friend of the show. DaveFennoy.com, everybody.
That is awesome. Scene Gabriel says, what are your thoughts on a single console future? I don't think a monopoly would be good for gamers. Cross-platform play, pros and cons. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't think it could happen.
Yeah, I think the only way we were all very bullish, I think, back in the PS3 generation early on of, like, this is the we'll have one more with PS4, whatever they call the next Xbox, whatever they call the next Nintendo thing, and that'll probably be the end of it. And it wasn't that everybody's going to shake hands and be done with it. I think we just expected people start falling away.
Yeah, the money's going to run out.
Nintendo started, it was, even with the Switch, I mean, before the announcement, I thought this was if they fuck this up, this is their last console before they go, we're just a third party and we'll publish wherever. And that was the same thing, I think, even when you look at, like, Sony, because Sony's strength is, if things would have gone wrong again and people didn't want to buy the PlayStation at launch or whatever, it went over time, you figured they have such a strong stable of first parties. Okay, fine, we lost the fucking console race, but we're still going to make these games and put them onto Xbox, PC, whatever the fuck it's going to be. And I think that was, like, it was a dire dream because it was like, okay, if two of them fail, which we can see happening based on prior performance, maybe that's what goes on. But then the way this has happened, I mean, I don't think you'll see it. I think, if anything, I think the next one to fall, and this isn't me being a fanboy, would be Xbox, because I think they'd be like, I think Microsoft would look at the spreadsheets and just be like, I don't see why are we even bothering? We can put our games on PC.
Or just make Xbox branded PCs.
Exactly. And I think that they would fall out of the system or the race that way. But I think it would just be the fact of, like, well, Sony's got such a lead as they do with PlayStation 4. What happens with Xbox One X? What happens if PlayStation 5 comes out before the next Xbox and they continue that? Like, again, though, now I'm already talking again like I was last time about the next generation.
Yeah.
What happens next generation with the next console?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it ever could happen, just because of how business works and with how this industry is, where I think that, especially now that Nintendo's kind of doing a different thing, and, like, they are now regaining that place as the other system where you have this and this.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was really established in the Wii era, where it was, you are either PS Wii or Wii 60.
Yeah.
And, like, you kind of stuck to that. Now with the Switch, you have a PS4 and you have a Switch, or you have Xbox One and a Switch. And I can see either Sony or Microsoft backing out with the argument you're making, where it's just like, sure, PlayStation's doing really well, but Sony's a huge company, and they have so much. But
the problem is that PlayStation's the only thing that makes money.
Exactly. But I can also see that just kind of getting so garbled up in the mess that is Sony
overall.
When it comes to Sony Pictures and Sony all that stuff, that it's like I can see them kind of just shifting priority in a way.
That's another thing where it gets interesting, right? Is the way of like, think about how crazy it was when Disney bought Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Think about what's going to happen when one of these giant one of these giant companies decides to get in bed and buy
Amazon owns
PlayStation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's not crazy.
Yeah, that's really
in
true.
the world we live in, it's not crazy to think about that happening. And then what about then snatching up something else?
I think it's hard to tell too because there's a lot of room still for growth in console markets. Like China just unbanned. Yeah. And those consoles are going on sale for like the first time legally there. India is like a huge emerging market where people are finally like affluent enough to be able to afford consoles. Brazil is becoming that market as well. And then there's even countries like, there's just a ton of countries that are industrializing at a really crazy rate right now, faster. Like we don't really see that as much here, so we don't think about it. So I feel like we're a long ways off from having like less consoles. If anything, I could see some company like a Korean one that's up and coming or something trying to launch something new. And I think it's crazy. It would be crazy to launch a new console, but I also thought that the launch of the Xbox was a crazy thing and there was no way it could be.
Yeah, I was like, what are you
doing?
Like,
who would do that?
We don't need another one of these.
Yeah,
Get out of here.
Yeah. Final question of the day comes from Kevin Knott. Anthony has openly talked about anxiety and depression in the past. Is there a game that he associates with helping get through that?
Ooh.
Any game that is really good at absorbing time is really good for that. Battlegrounds obviously is like a good time absorber. But actually, I did something when we were still at IGN about Minecraft for that. Because Minecraft was, before Battlegrounds, Minecraft was another game that I would just get together and be very social with my friends. But I like any sort of game that can be deeply involving for that way. But I also tend to avoid things that are going to make me like feel especially. So I literally when I play games, it is an escape from that, and it's just to like kind of zone out and disconnect a little bit, which there's like a degree to where that can become unhealthy if you're doing it all the time. That was like my World of Warcraft years. But like, yeah, I think Minecraft is still an amazing thing for that because you're just using like that constructive part of your brain to sit there and build. And I think Battlegrounds can be really good for that if you have people you play with. Like that's just it. Like I wouldn't play Battlegrounds if it wasn't for the fact that I'm like, it is going to be like one of those games that you were talking about, like Zelda. It will be that captured in a moment that I will remember for years now because I'll be like, wow, we were all in a place where we could set aside 3 hours and stuff like that. And as we get older, people have kids and stuff like that will become less. Like, you know, it is a moment in time.
From a shooter perspective, I mean, it reminds me of my feelings of Halo back in the day of playing the LAN parties and stuff where it's like, 100%. I feel like that could never be captured again. And it's like, well, maybe it can.
Yeah. Like, I think I wanted to buy the Modern Warfare Remaster re-release because I was like, oh, man, I want to get back to like 2007 when all we do every night is get together and play Modern. And it was like, we all got it. And it wasn't like that was going to happen. Yeah. It's just not there again. So for me, it's like finding the social games that allow me to do that. Minecraft was it, Battlegrounds was it, but finding something that I can convince all my friends to play and we all obsess over together. And
that's always good, yeah.
There's always somewhere to, I think it should be a social thing. Like that's just it. For me, at least, helping with depression is not just going into a hole by myself. It's like being with other people, sharing a community experience.
Well, Anthony, thank you very much for joining us on this show. I'm sure we'll have you back. Eventually, might take a couple years, but we'll get you there eventually.
That's fine.
Maybe when you sell Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go back to the studio right now and remove her.
No, Anthony! Oh, I gotta get to a PS4 immediately.
I'm gonna control F Spider-Gwen. Control
drag her to
delete.
the recycling.
No, but seriously, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you all for watching. We will see you guys next week. Until then, I love you. Hope you liked that. If you did, you should subscribe to us on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and get party mode early and all that stuff. Or if you don't want to use any money, subscribe to Kind of Funny or Kind of Funny Games. We appreciate it a lot. Or just watch some videos, playlist, click it here.